Going on, guys? Got a full here with my The Walking Dead Season 3 Episode 4 Killer Within review. It started this week. This is a very big episode, so I almost got to say spoiler. Just remember, spoiler. I will spoil what happened in the show and sometimes in the comics. So if you're not caught up with those, or you have interest in the shows and you do not want to know what happens, I recommend you go away from this video until you have caught up. Um, Remember, there are spoilers from the TV show and the comic books in this video, so do not watch this if you're not caught up, or you have an interest in the series and you do want to watch it without knowing big spoilers. And especially for this video, in this episode, I do not recommend spoiling it. So pretty much starts off with some random dude. Like I said, I'm gonna speed through it because this is a very big episode, but you see some random dude end up in the prison, kind of looks like he's trying to get revenge or scavenge something. There's a lot of rumors on who the guy was peeping on Carol. I almost called her Carol. If it was a Woodbury guy or Andrew the prisoner, who was presumed dead. So that happens. Prisoners end up wanting to be in the group. T-Dog kind of has this Dale type of side, humanity to him. You kind of they pretty much shut him down. They discuss it like a group, which we didn't really. We really thought of the dictatorship. What Rick says, what Rick goes. Like maybe he's a little lenient with that now, seeing that the group is more together now, more like a family, pretty much. Michonne inspects the trucks that the governor brought back. Notices she got a good idea of what he did, and the governor just plays it off. And I think the governor's ready to just end up killing her, not Andrea. It's a weird situation. It won't happen. If it does, it wouldn't surprise me, because it wouldn't surprise me if they kill anybody off, because they're just like that. They'll kill any character off. But yeah, end up at the prison after giving Axel and Oscar a chance to go back to their part of the prison. Pretty much Oscar decides that they're just gonna go on the road. They're not gonna go back in there. Gives them supplies last week. Herschel ends up walking around his crutches. Sean and Andrea discuss what their plans are for when they leave Woodbury. These scenes are they have some influence to them, but not really big. Seeing that there's more bigger things in this episode, maybe they were foreshadowing, but yeah, everybody starts looking at Herschel. Yay, Herschel! Like they're all happy seeing that now that there is, he's walking, he's alive, and everything. They're like, yay, cheering. Walkers show up, of course, when they get the one spot of humanity. Walkers show up, and the groups get separated. I'm looking at the reel right now. If I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking at the review. Not the review, but the recap. You know what I mean? Beth and Herschel lock themselves in a fenced entryway. Maggie, Lori, and Carl go into a cell block. I think T-Dog and Carol get separated too. They're with each other. But before they can get inside the prison, unluckily, T-Dog gets bit in the shoulder. I was hoping they would do something more. They were hinting that he would have more lines. I was kind of disappointed they didn't give him a shot. I thought Arnie Singleton, I'm not sure how you pronounce his first name. It's kind of a unique first name. I thought he deserved a little bit more. I thought he did a really good job with how they played out T-Dog. He had a really good following, and he had so many fans. For somebody that says one or two lines like every 2 episodes at one point, he had a lot of fans. I don't think I've seen any other character like that. Maybe, but I'm only 18, so I don't really know the old school television. So he gets bit, ends up going to prison. Back at Woodbury, Andrea tells Murrow what the farm is. Murrow and Andrea kind of have this weird flirty scene. Murrow's just kind of like a creepy old uncle. He's like, why didn't we hook up? And Andre's like, you called me what? It was a pretty funny scene. Um, so yeah, another little iffy scene, like show maybe Merle and Andrea have something there. And also, actually, there's another little point behind there. I think Merle, I'm getting more of a sense that Merle doesn't want to be with Woodbury. When Andre asks her if he likes it here, he kind of shuns away from that. He kind of just be like, well, I was about to die and they picked me up, so why not? Like, he had that type of thing that he's just going to be loyal to him, and he is scared of him. I think he is. That's what just lead my speculation that he'll end up with the group again. Um, but yeah, uh, prison yard. They're back at the prison yard. Glenn, Daryl, prisoners, and Glenn. Rick thinks it's the prisoners. They're like, no. And then alarms go off, and then the prisoners help them out with it. Once again, earlier in the episode, they're like, nope, we're not letting you in the group. Kind of getting a little trust in there after the alarms go off, and they kind of tell them where to go. So they go there. Next scene, you just see, this was one of my favorite scenes I've seen in the series. It's not going to be as good as I'll explain later. Carol and T-Dog bitten. Carol kind of carrying him. Coming to a hallway. Carol's out of ammo. They're pretty much, there's two walkers in front of them. They go back. They're probably going to die. So what T-Dog does is he sacrifices himself. He runs into the two walkers and holds them to a wall so Carol can escape. Uh, Going back in T-Dog, you have not seen a survivor do this. Once they get bitten, they're done for. Like, they just sit down and they're dead. Jim, he got bitten, but they held him. They didn't want to kill him, and then he decided to just let them do it. Like, he didn't do no heroic stuff like T-Dog did. Herschel didn't really have the chance. Like, uh, so yeah, he pushes him against the wall. It's a heroic scene by T-Dog. I'm kind of glad that they went this way with him. I had a little bit of hope that he would survive the season. Like, I would hope they give him a big shot, maybe make a main cast member. But I'm fine with how they ended him. Did something out of the ordinary from other survivors. They said there's something, he had a bigger role this year. I think that was the role. He saves Carol. He did something any other survivor didn't do in that group that died or got bitten. And it was a very, very powerful scene because Carol, if she ends up with the group, they already know T-Dog has bitten. Beth tells them that she got bitten. They are kind of like shunned it away. I think it'll become a little bit more. Next episode, they'll focus on it a little bit more. Lori, Carl, Maggie, they show them running around in the prison. Lori's about to have her baby. They go into the mechanical room, and she's about to have her baby. Um, Merle goes ask the governor for permission to go look at the farm. Uh, Governor says he doesn't want to lose Merle. Merle keeps the place sane, kind of with this little um, manipulative type of way that it's really interesting what will happen between Merle and Governor. I really think Merle might end up killing the governor, um, either because one governor killed his brother or his governor didn't want him to find his brother. I hope they don't kill Daryl. I don't think they will, but we don't know. They've done it before. They just kill off random dude. Um, so yeah, I think that's gonna be a nice little conflict. It just leaves my speculation that Merle doesn't want to be Woodbury. But the governor says if he can find more solid information, he will go with him personally. And that scares me a little bit because it shows maybe it leads him to. It's a very tricky type of situation there. Um, Rick, Daryl, Glenn, and the prisoners separate, look for the generators, find them. Um, they end up finding them, but turn them off. But another scene, Lori's bleeding. She's having hemorrhage from her baby. It's not ready to come out. And she makes the decision to cut her open. And she's not going to live through it. She makes a quick decision. I'll explain that a little bit later at the end of the type of the scene. But yeah, the T-Dog scene comes after this. I don't know why I explained earlier, but it really doesn't matter. But yeah, he went out a hero a little bit. You find out the governor's real name, Philip. Actually, I don't. I think Philip is actually he stole Philip's name. Philip was his brother, I believe, and Brian is actually his real name. In comic books, he steals it. I don't know why. I don't think you ever find out why. But it's an interesting plot line. It shows you maybe he's a little bit loopy. Um, but I'm not 100% sure. They might, they might just keep it Philip, but say it is Philip, or his actual name Brian, and you find out. Um, but yeah, Rick, Oscar, and Daryl find the generator room, and look who's waiting there for him. Andrew, the guy that Rick let to die, and you heard him scream. But this show, if you don't see him die, they're not dead. They could come back. Merle. Simple as that. Some characters you might sometimes, but you know what I mean. If you don't see him die, they could still be alive. So, yep. And this is where the prisoners pretty much get into the group is Oscar kills Andrew. He's pointing the gun at Rick, and Andrew's like, kill him, turns his gun, shoots Andrew. Boom, done. I think the prisoners are starting to gain his trust, and seeing that they lost T-Dog, um, they would be a big help to the group. Like, T-Dog was the workhorse, pretty much. Another Woodbury scene. Michonne doesn't like that Anjo wants to stay. Storms out. Then I think one of my most favorite scenes was when Laurie is saying goodbye to Carl. And exact quotes here. Don't let the world spoil you. You're the best thing that I ever did. She's kind of reflecting on her past. She kind of regrets what she did with Shane. She does regret what she did with Shane. And she kind of goes through her whole life in that whole paragraph for giving, pretty much telling Carl, be like Rick. Don't be a bitch, pretty much. Do what you have to do. Don't let the world spoil, like she said. And Carl, pretty much strong. Maggie slices Laurie's belly open for the C-section, and the baby comes out. Laurie is dead, and Carl ends up shooting her. It was a very, very dramatic scene. I think it was probably one of the better scenes in the whole series. It was that powerful. I'd love to well, I don't know what the word is, but tell you the whole thing she said, because there was some key things she said in it. But I kind of summarized it up for you. I read a review that said there's an Emmy deserving performance. I thought it was that one until I saw the next one. But yeah, Carl shoots her in the head. She'll turn, pretty much. I think they actually go back for her in the next episode because they are digging graves, so. But, probably another powerful scene that I will not forget from the series is everybody's outside except you don't see Carol. Carol, you don't see at the end of this episode. We don't know if she's dead or alive. I don't think she's gonna die. I don't think they're just gonna sacrifice T-Dog and let her die. They think she's dead. But I think they end up going looking for her anyways, or Daryl at least. But you see everybody pretty much outside except for Carol, Maggie, Carl, and Laurie. Maggie and Carl come back with the baby, and Rick thinks, oh, Laurie's just struggling behind. But Maggie couldn't even tell him that she's dead. And once again, this reminds me of the first episode when he goes to their house, and he has a hysterical cry, and he just he keeps pacing, and he can't believe it happened, and he's hoping he's dreaming, but he isn't, and he just lays on the ground, and all the groups look at him like they're starstruck, pretty much. It's like starstruck's the one where they're all kind of like, wow, is this happening? They're seeing their leader pretty much break down, and I think this is gonna really change Rick. He's probably hoping that he kept that relationship with Laurie fixed it right away, because if he did, she probably would have died. All that stress probably didn't help and everything, so it was a really good. That last 5 minutes after that Woodbury scene, when you see Laurie say the goodbye, and then at the end you see Rick collapsing pretty much. He's grieving. Everybody's just looking, and you see Carl was really strong. I think you saw him make his full transformation this episode. He shot his own mommy. He was crying at. He walks out of there not saying a thing, looking down. You could tell he is a changed man. He is no longer a kid. He is a grown man. Even though the age doesn't say it, he just shot his mom and pretty much just walked out quiet. Like, this is where you just start seeing Carl turn into Rick. I think this is a changing point, a big changing point for Carl, and losing his mom is gonna change him a lot. So yeah, that last 5 minutes is some of the best television I've seen in my entire lifetime. Maybe for you older people, it might not, but it was very memorable 5 minutes that I've ever seen TV. I mean, this episode definitely is the best one. Some people might say, why not the pilot? Well, the pilot's in its own category. Like you can't compare it to any other episode because that's what started the show and that's what the show started. So this is the best episode in my mind. Like, pilot's in a different category at this point. Um, kind of thoughts. There was nothing wrong with this episode. I had no hate or anything about it. I think it was perfectly played. There was a perfect mix of Woodbury and the prison. I think next episode, I don't know, I'll explain, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I didn't, like I said, I had a little hope that T-Dog was going to survive the season. To see him die this season, the way he died, it didn't disappoint me. I was happy for it. Like, it's stupid, but he went out in a way no other survivors did. That's what they intended to do, and that's why they said he had a bigger role. Maybe he will influence other people to do that. After hearing the story, if Carol survives, which I presume she will. And I think the way he went out in his type of hero way will kind of affect the group, make him a little bit stronger. There was actually a scene where they saw T-Dog's body, and I'm like, whatever. Then they found Carol's scarf and that, so... so yeah, they showed the episode right after the premiere, and I couldn't come to watch it because it was such a mind-boggling episode, because they just, boom, they just took everything. Like, episode 4, Lori dies, like, everybody thought she would live, and then T-Dog dying, like, oh, what's gonna happen in the Myrtle thing? Like, what this episode did was, from this episode now, you don't know what's gonna happen. You can't get any good, ideas on what happened. Lori's dead. How is that gonna affect the prison raids? T-Dog's dead. How is that, like, you figured Myrtle would probably try to kill him, but it's, it was a great episode. It was kind of like, it was speechless. I looked at the episode and I'm thinking, like, how am I going to explain this in this video? It was that type of episode. Like, you just can come to words after watching it. Like, I don't want to watch it a second time, really, because it was such a good episode. I don't want to be thinking, oh, Lori's going to die in, like, 10 minutes. Like, that episode was jaw-dropping, pretty much. Makes you speechless. You don't, I don't know, it's just, like I said, I'm speechless. I don't really, it leaves so many questions, and, so many different types of plot lines you could go with. How Rick is going to change, how Carl's going to change. I want to talk about the baby a little bit now, but ending on the little thing, I think Lori dying this early, it's gonna, I think the season is gonna get darker when it comes to Rick situations. Like, if he sees one hint of stupidity out of these prisoners, if they join the group, he'll just kill them. Like, I think them losing his wife, it's just gonna make him more of a grueling man, like a man that just is focused on keeping everybody alive, and he failed that by keeping, like, his wife dying and everything. It's gonna change how he makes decisions and everything. After this drink, I will explain the baby. So yeah, the baby. This is a long episode. I mean, a long video, but it should be a prediction. I think they'll tone it down a little bit, show the aftermath of it, how Rick's handling, how Carl, how they're gonna make decisions, because this baby changes everything. It hinders their scavenging. this being in and out, they gotta go find a stroller or something to keep this baby in their sight in a world that every corner is dangerous. So the baby hinders it a lot. Um, so that's pretty much it with the baby. But like I said, the baby's an interesting plot line. I'm glad they kept it. I'm Irish or something. If they brought it in really early, because there's 4 more episodes in the season. What are they gonna do to top this episode? That's what's scaring me, because now I gotta wait every week to find out what happens next. I'm gonna get curious and start looking up reviews and end up looking to a spoiler or something. Um, but yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Quick little prediction. I think um, they do make the decision to go leave the prison and scavenge. I think they end up going back to the hometown, maybe episode 6. I think Michonne leaves. Woodbury and Andrea maybe stays. Um, I think Michonne will end up meeting up with Rick and whoever he goes with to the town somehow. I think this all happened from episode 5 to episode 6. So that's my prediction. All my links below, Twitter, everything. If you have questions, tweet me or put comments below about the episode. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next Monday, because this one's on a Sunday. It was such a good episode that I had to put it on Monday.